So when you're starting a new winery, it can be super hard to figure out, make decisions about how fast to grow. You're paying money out the door for production expenses for make wine that you're not going to be able to sell 2-3 years down the line. Super rough. We just had a conversation with a winery owner in this situation, and it's like, what does it mean to grow smart? What does it mean to grow at a pace that you can sustain so you don't completely wipe yourself out with production costs? And I wanted to kind of run through how this winery profit planner, this is just a small tool, but just with this in mind, I just kind of wanted to run through this and show you all how to use this and how this can kind of help you think about the future in just a 2-minute exercise. So just imagine we're dealing with a winery that's just getting going, but they have sold 1,000 cases last year. That's great. Let's say they did about $350,000 and all DTC for the most part, and their gross margin, they're doing it at a custom crush facility, they're getting a little better than 60%. Let's say they're getting 65% on this, and their projected operating expenses, let's just say they're going to be the same as last thing here, target operating profit margin 15%. So you can put in 0 here if you want to break even. 15% is a pretty good goal. It's a nice healthy business. 10 if you want to be a little more conservative. So we're going to leave that at 15. And so we can really just like in 1 minute, we can see here that this winery, if it's going to get that 15%, first of all, that's a target operating profit of $105,000 right here. Not bad for a goal. If you're not paying yourself as the winemaker, that might look pretty good for you to be over 6 figures. So where does this winery need to go? Where does it need to head? So what we see is target case depletions of 2,000. They basically need to double where they're at. So do they need to quadruple where they're at? Should they go out and make 4,000 cases of wine? Probably not. They'd probably build this up slowly so that they can figure out a way to fund the production as they're getting there. If they got to 2,000 cases and they were selling wine at $350 a case, DTC, they'd be at $700,000. Still a small winery, but twice as big as $350,000. So what this revenue gap is, that's how much we need. That's the difference between where we are and where we need to be. You want to take that on a monthly basis to kind of get your head around it. Wineries with their wine clubs and everything, you're not generally selling the same amount every month, but in general, it's $30,000 more a month. So you're going to have to look at your business plan and be like, okay, this is where we're at now. What do we need to do to double our sales? Do we need to go into distribution? What is that really going to look like? How fast is our wine club growing? How fast can our wine club get us there? But you can easily think about that. Or we got to sell 1,000 cases. And so, how is that over the next 12 months? We've got 1,000 divided by 12. That's, 83 cases a month. What is it going to take us to sell an additional 83 cases a month to get there? Maybe we don't need to grow quite that fast. Maybe we can grow a little slower. And so the thing to do here is be like, well, let's just put this, if we only expect to get 10% profit margin on this, that's going to get us 63,000. Not as satisfying, but at least it's a profit. And that's only a goal of, now we want to increase by 818 cases. It's a little lower. If we want to go to 5%, you're going to have a pretty marginal profit there, small profit, but it's not such an unattainable goal. But this kind of gives you an idea of what some different scenarios for the future might look like for you. You also want to think about this projected operating expenses. So this calculator is taking this as a fixed flat cost. So if you are going to increase your labor to sell that, if you were really going to go to $700,000, then you're probably going to need some more labor. So, can you do it for $450,000? And then it pushes you up even higher. And so, you got to kind of find a place where it's a good balancing point where it's going to work for you. Your profit's looking better here, so maybe we can pull back on our profit a little bit and, still feel good about that. But this just gives you an idea of okay, in 3 years, 2 years, what are we aiming for? And then you can go back and do that hard exercise of figuring out how much the production is going to cost and how are you going to fund that production. So that's a little overview of our calculator, but I just wanted to do a little bonus here for anyone who wants the Excel sheet. We can add in a download for this. Okay, so here's our spreadsheet in Google Sheets here. Put it in Excel if you want it to download it, but we're going to put in those same numbers that we were downloading, that we were using with our example we were discussing. And then we have here a little simplified P&L. So for you who want to see it in an accounting form, this is what we have. Here are your case depletions. Here's your current. Here's your target. Here's your gap. There's your revenue per case. So that's not displayed on the calculator, but you can see that there. And then and you can play with that revenue per case too. Like if you don't think as you grow you're going to be able to get that much, you know, you could put in here that your current revenue is only $300,000 and $300 a case. So there's a lot of factors in here, but you could also just, this should give you the bones to build something out if you want to play with it more. But if you got to hold that revenue per case steady in this example. It's a variable that you could play with, but here we're going to leave it steady. And so anyway, here's your revenue, your current revenue, your target revenue. There's the gap to get there. This is your cost of goods sold. So this is the cost. This is that 65% times, it's actually 35% because it's your COGS percent, because this is 65%. So it's COGS, that's the cost to make your wine, not the cost to whatever you're paying for production this year, but what you paid 1, 2, 3 years ago to make that wine, the cost of your wine you're actually selling. That's what that number is. And then here's your gross profit margin. The gap is nothing because it's the same from year to year. And then we have your expenses. So this is a very simplified P&L. So under expenses, you have all your general and selling expenses, your sales staff, tasting room expenses, marketing, all those things. And then here's your operating profit. So right now in this current scenario, yeah, it's not feeling too good. In this scenario, you're feeling a lot better. So I just wanted to provide this spreadsheet to you as a little bonus. This is just a very basic thing, but you can take it as, you know, a model and build out, put in your actual expenses in here and kind of build out a plan just to start with your winery. We need to come out with a video showing you how to deal with the production planning, because of course this is only your profit. It's not showing your cash flow, and the cash flow and the production planning is the hardest thing with wineries. But this at least gives you a start to kind of look at your numbers in a way where you can kind of have a little crystal ball and imagine what different scenarios would look like in the future based on decisions that you're making now. Hope that's helpful, and we will talk to you again soon.